back with another episode of 2020 Unfiltered. I am here with my girls, Kia and Taylin, on today, just to chat about a few things. Now, the last time we spoke, we were kicking off the celebration of Masturbation May. So my first question is, have y'all learned any new techniques, got any new toys, or have anything to contribute?
Nothing new here.
Yeah, I was about to say, pretty boring on this side. I haven't learned no.
Okay, so if you say boring, all right, so then that answers my next question. I know y'all have heard about the rose, right?
What is?
Okay, the rose, this new
What's that?
Toy craze. So you haven't heard about it?
Mm-mm.
All right, apparently there's this new toy out called the rose, and it's about maybe about like this big, maybe, and it looks like a rose, like the top of it. That's our homework. Let's see about it.
Okay.
Let's see about it. Let's have a little May celebration. But the next time I talk to y'all, we need to have our roses. Cool.
Okay,
y'all.
Okay, sponsors, anybody out there, if y'all want to send us some roses, let me know.
I was about to say, as a matter of fact, make sure you do it. I will be sending y'all a rose each. So,
okay.
Yeah, I'll make sure we all have a rose. And I will get one for Marie. I'm sad to say that she's had a death in the family, so we're definitely thinking about her on today and her family. So she's not here today. She got out of this one. But moving along with the whole Masturbation May thing, I came across another ad on Insta that talked about master dating. Are y'all familiar with that phrase?
No.
All right. So master dating is basically going on a date by yourself. Is that something that y'all have done or would do?
Going on a date by yourself?
Yeah, basically just going like to the movies by yourself or out to eat by yourself, like actually dining in a restaurant by yourself. Or even
yeah. I've actually done those things before. Like I used to go to the movies by myself all the time because I just love movies, and I mean it's easy to find a seat when it's just one person. So I've done that. Recently started eating out by myself more. I didn't really used to do that, but I just started with going to the bar, like eating there by myself, and then getting a table, eating by myself. It's actually like fun. I think you have to enjoy your own company too to do it.
That's big. I definitely want to come back to that. What about you, Tay?
Oh, same thing. Yeah, going out to eat, movies, things. I guess a big thing I'll be doing is I'm taking myself on vacation. So
I remember you said that last time. Yeah, like that's big. I've never been one to really do that. Like I remember when I first moved to Charlotte, like over 10 years ago, I decided one night I was going to go to the club by myself and probably stayed like 20, 30 minutes because I was just like, yeah, this is boring if you don't have somebody to talk to or people watch with you. Like, so I never did that again. And then last year, or nope, not COVID year, the year before that, I went to a Goody Mob concert by myself. And that was cool. It's awkward at first. Like, I'm gonna say I'm an introvert because I've never been that, but it was weird, like for me to like talk to strangers because I'm really bad about that. So it was weird not having somebody to come along with me. But once, the party got started, then it was cool because the concert was actually like a party. It was cool talking to people next to me, dancing, rapping, all of that stuff. But I'm not somebody who just goes out by myself. I don't know. It's just awkward for me. So I don't know. I commend y'all for that. But that leads me to what you said, Kia. Could it be that I don't enjoy time by myself?
That's a good question to ask. I feel like, well, for you, because you're a mom too, I feel like you're used to having someone around, at least your daughter, So I think you're used to not having like your alone time.
Right.
Or you could just be, you just like the company of other people. What is it called? Ambivert, where it's like you're introverted and extroverted at the same time.
That's really what I think I am.
Yeah, that's what I feel like. You give me those vibes that you're like both of those.
Yeah.
But and then some people find like being alone, they're able to recharge more by themselves, or like they just like their company more. But I don't know. I kind of like certain things, like going to a concert or going, I don't know, to a club. I do like to go with people because, like you said, it's fun to like people watch together, talk to somebody. Right. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I get that. Yeah. Taylor, didn't you go to a concert by yourself?
I go to concerts all the time by myself. I prefer actually by myself because typically when I go to concerts by myself, I'm able to like move through the crowd and I always end up front and center at the concerts.
Oh, I see your technique there.
Right.
I like it. Now the concert thing, that is something that I could see myself possibly revisiting. But even today, I'll give you an example. My husband had to work at a festival here in Columbia. I think it was like the Food and Wine Festival. And I was telling him, I was like, man, I wish I had a homegirl that I could just call up just on the spur of the moment and be like, hey, I want to go check out the Food and Wine Festival. Do you want to go? Because I would have never gone by myself. Like, I would have just felt like such a lame, especially if he was working there, then it might look like I'm just trying to be there instead of people kids watching. So yeah, I was like, I'll go home. And it was weird because my baby wasn't here. He was working. And I was just like, so now what? Like, should I go?
When was that?
That was today. Like earlier today. Girl,
first of all, I love food and I love wine.
Girl, I told him, I said, I am definitely going to plan for the next one. Like, yes. I have to. So, all right. The master dating is not my thing. I've been told before that I'm a serial dater. And I kind of want to get into the whole dating scene. Like, I know COVID has changed a lot as far as how people date. And even though I'm married, let me be clear, me and my husband still date because we cut our dating period really short when we got married. So we make a point of still dating now. But what do y'all think are some of the challenges with dating now?
Lack of people coming up to you. Not like how it used to be. I pre-COVID, it's just been like this for the last 5 years or so, where I remember guys actually coming up to you, like you would be just out and about and they would. That doesn't happen now. I don't know what's going on. They might come up to you for your social media handle and then navigate through that. But whatever happened to face-to-face interaction, like it's strange.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. I feel like if the guys don't come up as much, maybe because they're intimidated, or it could be the fact that like they don't want to deal with rejection as much, so maybe they just stop coming up to women. But I like the old school, like somebody, coming up to you, wanting your number, wanting to talk to you. Now, like you said, Taylor, it's just social media.
You could be pumping gas and somebody would come up to you, and they may be lame, but they would at least do that. And I agree, Tay, because I've said this for years, like nobody does that anymore. Like guys just don't come up to girls anymore. So how do y'all feel about the internet dating?
I try it, but it just never works out. I get bored with it, or I just can't keep up. Like I'll have people messaging me and then I'll be like, oh, a day's went by, another day's went by. Like, oh, well. Then within a week or so, I usually just delete whatever I'm on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I've tried it in the past, and like when Tinder first came out, I tried to hop on that. And I met like maybe a couple of guys off of there, but I never did go on any dates with them. Actually ended up meeting, he was just strange. Like, and, I feel like with the dating apps, you have to get really lucky or blessed, like, to meet your person on there. A lot of the guys, it seems like, are just on there for one thing, like they want to, hook up or something. But yeah, that's what I feel like. But I do know of people, like I know at least 3 couples where they have met like their fiance or their wife or husband on there. So it can work for some people.
I've met quite a few met their fiance and husband on like Tinder. or Bumble or something like that.
Shout out Bumble.
Right.
So what do you think the difference is then? So let's say, for instance, you meet a guy online. I know, Tay, you said you get bored easily because you're not responding to the messages. But what if you met that same guy face to face and he was just a texter? So he's still sending you messages. What's the difference?
I don't know. It's just, I'm just one of those people. I prefer face-to-face interaction. I think it's just really about your communication skills or what your preference is. Like, I like people in social settings, and instead of you texting or calling me all the time, I prefer you just to come over and hang out. But that's just my love. That's what I just prefer. There are some people who love to text, who love to go back and forth, FaceTime and things like that. So I feel like those type of people, maybe, online dating would be very good for them.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I'm more of like an in-person person.
Okay, so during COVID now, y'all are open to meeting people like face to face and hanging out even now?
Yeah, I would prefer. When COVID first happened, I did get on Hinge. I was like, okay, let me see what that's like, because everybody about Hinge, and I'm not gonna lie, like the guys that were on Hinge, they were very attractive, and I had good like conversations with them. But like I said, I get bored after a while. I'm like, I want to meet somebody in person. So it just happened. I end up meeting somebody in person, and this was a person that we could hang out every day. So that just ended up being the thing that worked for me during the pandemic.
Got you. What about you, Kia?
I had a brief stint of going on, what was it, eHarmony? I know that's such a
Really? Oh.
Yeah, I tried it only because I was just like, you know what? Because I didn't want to try like Tinder or any of those apps first. I was like, I thought that eHarmony would have a better selection or whatever. Yeah, like more serious. So I was like, oh, let me just see what this is about. So I made a profile. There was like a few guys on there that I was like, okay, they seemed like some stuff going for themselves. They're attractive. But I didn't end up getting to the part of like actually paying for it. I was just doing like the free trial part of it. And I don't know, after like a few days, I was like, I'm just gonna delete this. Like, I would just rather meet somebody in person. I guess just because, like Taylor, I don't know, when I suck at texting, I would rather see you in person and hang out, or FaceTime or something like that. So I did kind of give it a little bit of a try, but yeah, I just don't think it's for me. I don't know.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you, it's odd to me to hear both of y'all say this, because the assumption is the younger crowd, the millennials, are really the ones who are doing like this online dating stuff. And it's so funny because I'm thinking about my mama as I'm talking about this, because she's like, y'all are so crazy and you don't know who you're meeting online, and you could be meeting these psychos. And my response to her was, I met psychos face to face. Like,
that's true.
There's no difference. But I am a texter. So like, y'all, a lot of times I cringe when my phone rings because I just don't like talking on the phone. I don't really like somebody in my space unless like we've gotten to that point. So the texting and even the online dating thing, it would have worked, I think, if I would have stuck with it, but I didn't really have to, because that's how I met my husband. And that whole background story, like, I thought it was a joke, like doing online dating was a joke. But our publicist, shout out Danielle, she told us, like, she met this guy and like it was so cool, like their interactions and stuff. And she told us about Bumble. Me, her, and Kia were on a call one day, and I was just like, yo, I heard somebody else talk about it. And I went on during the beginning of COVID just as something to pass time. Like when I'm bored, stuck in the house or on the porch, I like just swiping people and just looking at people and reading about people. Like that was fun for me. But when I swiped my husband a couple of times, like I shouldn't say swipe. I looked at him and then I was like, no, I'm not going to reach out. Because one of the good things about Bumble, and I'm not really endorsing them unless they want to give us a sponsorship, now we can do that. But I will say one of the things about them is the men can't contact you. So the women have to reach out first. And I appreciated that, because I've been on other sites like, Lord, I want Facebook to just not with their dating people. Like, just,
I didn't even know Facebook had a dating app.
They shouldn't.
I just learned about it like weeks ago.
they
I didn't.
shouldn't. Like, some of the people, y'all, some of the people that would reach out to me, and I'm goofy all day, so I would just like screenshot some of these people and send them to my sisters, and we would have a good kiki. And I'm just like, Facebook just needs to stop. So I could appreciate the Bumble platform where I had to reach out, and I will say I'm that chick. Like, in the past, even when guys would come up to girls and stuff, I was that girl that would step to a guy. So that was cool for me. I appreciated that. But when I reached out to him, like I said, it kind of was just a pastime for me, but he kept it going. Like, I can't even say we would be together today if he didn't. And he showed me that he was intentional and he was interested. So we spoke on there maybe a couple of days, and he was just like, hey, I'm not on here a lot. Can I just get your number? And we probably texted for like another day or so before we went out. So I will say, I think personally, it's a good starting point. Maybe start a conversation and then hang out with them. Or same for you, kid. Like, since y'all are into the face-to-face thing, like, it could be a, hey, how you doing? All right, let's meet here tomorrow type thing. I don't know, just something to throw out there.
Yeah. Right. Because I'm the same with you as far as the phone. Like, I don't like talking on the phone, but if I was to talk, I'd rather it be the FaceTime, just to like face-to-face. Maybe it's that face-to-face, because things can get misconstrued through text. You can't tell how someone's saying something. And I think when you're trying to get to know someone, I think it's better if y'all like, like just talk in person. I think it was good how Marcus, wanted to get your number, and then y'all just end up meeting in person. That was good.
Yeah.
Honestly,
so let me ask you this.
Choice soon, because if things keep going this way, that might be the only way you do meet somebody going forward.
Right. Seriously. Because like you said, before COVID, even like years before, that interaction with guys approaching women just didn't happen the same. And I know it was something that you said, Kia. Oh, the rejection factor. So I don't think that guys even have a trigger inside of them where they fear rejection, because they are rejected millions of times in their lives. I just feel like guys just don't care, because sometimes it could be some of the weirdest guys, and I don't mean any disrespect to anybody, but those are the ones who will come up to you and like, I mean, a whole so I don't think that stops them. But in my saying that, with like some of the weird guys, tell me the one main thing you look for, and what's the one main deal breaker with a guy?
One main thing I look for. Oh, this is gonna sound cheesy, I guess, but like, they have to believe in God. And I feel like I know
you gotta choose wisely with how you say that, because
that's what I'm about to say.
Then be careful how you
No, what I'm saying is they have to believe in God, and they have to have a relationship with God, and be, like, I feel like on the same level as I am with that, at least. I just feel like, because like Taylor said, it can be guys who say they believe in God, but they ain't got no relationship with him, or they're just saying that just to appease you, and really, it's just kind of like, So yeah, what Taylor's saying is true. Like, make sure they actually have like a relationship with God.
Okay, so pause right there. Before you even get to that conversation, what are you looking for?
What am I looking for?
So basically, I'm asking, do you have a type?
Kind of, sort of. Okay, my type is, if we're talking physically, I do like taller guys. They don't have to be 6 feet, but at least about 5'9", 5'10", at least. I do. I'm 5'4".
Okay, all right, that's tall for you.
Yeah, okay, so yeah.
Okay.
And I do like, I don't want to say this because that's gonna sound bad, but I do like the chocolate men, you know.
Oh, yes, Lord.
Brown, dark skin. Nice smile, nice, you know, or whatever. Just has himself together, like just upkeep himself good, you know. Okay. And a nice body. Like he don't have to be like muscled down, but just a nice, you know, something, nice body. Okay. Yeah, nice physique. Mm-hmm.
So what's the deal breaker? What's the absolute, like, sir, you cannot even get my name?
Someone who they come off as like ignorant. Like they don't seem like I guess what I'm trying to say is I do like somebody kind of educated in the sense of like just book smart, street smart, like that type of guy. Yeah. Okay. So being just ignorant, that's an automatic turn off for me. Deal breaker.
Okay. What about you, Tay?
Oh, what's a deal breaker?
Both. I want both. Your deal breaker and your type. Or your number one thing that you look for.
Okay, so deal breaker, you have to be Christian. And that's why I was trying to get at earlier when I was saying, not saying, okay, you have to believe in God, because you can believe in God, but you can be Muslim and believe in God. You can
That's true.
Believe in God.
Right.
Yeah. Hard way, we need to be on that same level.
Absolutely.
You need to be Christian. I know going forward, Christian. So what do I look at? What's attractive? Do you mean physical or mental?
Whatever.
Someone that's highly intelligent. You don't have to be a genius, but like Kia said, you can be street smart, could be book smart, could be a little bit of both, but some smarts. Someone who's a go-getter. I like somebody that's very ambitious. I don't like no lazy man. That is no-go over here. Additionally, somebody who is family oriented. I like people who are, you know, all about their family. That's really big to me. And someone who isn't selfish. I'm not like a selfish person because I'm not selfish myself. So yeah, that work out. Physically, I'm not too crazy about like looks, believe it or not. As long as you got a pretty decent face and you're taller than me, I can probably work with you.
Wow. Okay. How tall are you?
I'm 5'4".
So y'all like same height. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I will say I absolutely have a type. Now, I deviated from my type in the past, but I have a type, and chocolate is my
brother.
Like, oh Lord. And I say all the time, there's nothing like a dark-skinned man with pretty teeth. Like, oh my Jesus. Like, he's been touched by the Lord. That is definitely a blessing to all of us. My number one deal breaker, whereas you just height. Like, if you're shorter than me, if you're my height even, like, I'm really not gonna.
How tall are you, Takara?
I'm 5'6"
5'6"
and a half, kind of. But yeah, oh my gosh, that is like such a turn off. Another physical turn off for me, I'm really big on teeth. So if your teeth have any kind of curvature, or if you're missing or if they're throwing up gang signs, like I cannot, unless you tell me in the beginning conversations, like I got an orthodontist appointment next week. Like I can't. In general though, my number one thing though is the Christianity. Like, anybody who knows me knows that I'm a church girl all day long. And I didn't look for a man who went to church all the time. I think when we first started dating, I think my husband told me he hadn't been like in years, but he told me, and he showed that he really has a relationship with God. Like, early on, we started praying together, and that was major for me. Like, definitely a big thing for me. And then I want to say that they have to be intelligent, but I don't know that I've always shown that. with
You got me.
some of my past stuff. So I don't know about that. Definitely the Christianity thing. Oh, and definitely, like you said, Tate, someone who's family oriented, because I do have a daughter. And I will say, once my ex-husband and I split, like I wasn't sure what the dating scene would be like with me having a daughter. I only have one child, but I just wasn't sure what that would be like. So I knew I had to have somebody in my life who was family oriented and was open to children and all of that stuff. So I'm pretty happy. I want to read something to y'all that I read, and I want you to tell me if you agree with this statement or what your thoughts are on it. It says, being alone will always be better than being with someone who doesn't value who you really are. What are your thoughts?
Most definitely. I see women unfortunately settle all the time because they rather have somebody, just a warm body, than getting what they deserve being alone.
Okay.
I do agree with that statement. I do. I think, and I even think sometimes women know that, but they don't like practice it, I guess. But I guess that does have something to do with like their self-worth or how they view themselves, basically. So they might think that like, oh, this is the best I can do, or you know, like I'll just stick with this for now, you know. So I do agree with that statement though. I do.
And I think too, in addition to what y'all have said, definitely as women, we settle a lot, and not just with our mates, just across the board, we settle. I think it has a lot to do with settling. I think it has a lot to do with our self-love and self-worth. I also think it has to do with our upbringing and what we saw as far as our environments, be it with your parents or your friend circle or just people who are influential in your life. I know personally for me, one of the things that my mama said to me and my sister a lot growing up, and even now she'll say, if they don't treat you right, put them on skates. And so when I wrote my first blog piece, I called her and I was like, so I want to use that in my blog piece, but I was like, Mama, what does that mean? And she said, if they're on skates, then that means you can open the door and they'll keep on rolling. And that has literally been my mantra. You know, my friends often make jokes. They're like, man, my friends and my family, they're like, every time we turn around, you got a different dude or whatever. And I say, well, I mean, I'm not going to stay in a bad situation, but for so long. And I think that that's something that I even wrote about too. Like, we have to normalize getting out of bad situations. Like, we have to normalize starting over. We have to normalize being okay with you to the point that you're like, you know what? I'm not going to settle. I'm not going to have just a warm body next to me, like you said, Tay. But we all have different breaking points. So, Taylor, I'll come to you first. In a relationship, what is your number one breaking point? What is the deal breaker to make you say, you know what, never again will I deal with this person?
I would say when I don't feel valued. When I can go through the motions with you consistently, but when I finally get to the point where I was like, you know what, this person really just does not value me. Like, they've done A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and so on. It's like, it's clicked. The value's not there, because if you did, you wouldn't keep doing it, or you wouldn't have done what you've done. That's when I'm out the door.
All right. What about you, Kia?
I'll say I agree with that. My thing is when it's starting to, I guess, affect my mental health, like where I'm constantly stressing out over this person, the situation, like Taylor said, not feeling valued or appreciated. Basically feel like they're taking advantage of me. And I think sometimes I give like too many chances until I reach my breaking point. Right. And by that point, it's done got like really bad. So that's something that I do need to work on. Is like, it's good to give chances to people, but sometimes the first thing you should just cut them off and, you know, be done. So,
and as women, we've all experienced that. We've all given too many chances to the wrong person and maybe not enough to the right person. I know personally, my number one trigger, my number one deal breaker, not just with mates, with anybody, is disrespect. Like
Mm-hmm.
I everybody that is the one thing that will send me from 0 to 1,000 like within a millisecond. I can't deal with disrespect. So I grew up in a home where my parents, I'm about to say this, and I think a lot of times it's to a fault, but my parents never argued in front of me and my sister. And so I had this notion, this idea that couples don't do that. So anytime in the past when I've gotten into an argument, I pretty much chuck the deuces because I'm just like, yeah, nah, we don't do this. But I also, being transparent, I have a temper. So I know things could escalate and turn very bad very quickly if I allow myself to stay in a situation to where I feel like I'm being disrespected. So that for me is number one no go. Like, and like you said, Kia, there was only one ex that I can say, like, I gave a lot of chances to, and to this day, like if I was to sit and analyze it, I'm not even sure why, because I never really saw a happy future. I could see a future if I settled, if I stayed in it, but it wouldn't have been a happy future. And I'm just not sure why. But so I watch a lot of reality TV, and y'all know this about me. Like, that's my favorite thing to do. I want to bring up two of my shows. So on one of my shows, Married to Medicine, they had this discussion about cheating. And I feel like one of the doctors kind of normalized it. And she said something to the effects of, a lot of times, husbands are unfaithful and they may cheat, but cheating does not or should not end marriages. And people need to stop thinking that it does. What's y'all opinion on cheating? Like, should that be a deal breaker? Or is that
I've seen that too. It was another reality show that came on a few weeks ago where the girl was like, I don't condone cheating, but if you cheat, just don't do it in my face. Don't let me find out. And a lot of women were agreeing with her, like, we know, just don't let me find out type deal. And I started really like thinking about it, analyzing it, and I've gone over it in my head multiple times because let's all be honest, we've known plenty of women in our lives who've been cheated on, and plenty who have stayed. And, as a child, I used to say, "Oh my God, I would never stay with a man who cheated with me. If my husband cheats on me, I'm out the door." But the older I get, I'm gonna be completely honest from my perspective. I don't really believe that there is a 100% faithful man. I know that sounds terrible, and there could be some men, I want to believe our grandfathers and the men in the community, that they haven't stepped outside on their women, but
not the granddaddies who had a whole other family.
A whole family.
Girl, at least bring it forward to say like our brothers or something, but your granddaddies have whole other families, like several sets.
Don't want to fake those realities, but the older I get as a woman, I talk to the women, the elders in our community, they let you know, like, no, it wasn't all perfect. He did this and I done did that and, whatever. So now that I'm older and I know the realities of things that have happened, like, could I stay with my man if he cheated on me? I say it depends on the situation, what was done. And I can't say that if I'm with some man, I got 4 kids, we've been married for 20 years, and I found out he cheated on me, that I'm just going to be like, well, I'm out the door. I can't say that I'll necessarily do that. I don't know because I haven't been put in that situation. So, it's for me, it's going to be very situational.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, now Taylor's got me thinking. At first, I was going to be like, hell no, like I'm out. Like, but like Taylor said, some situations, it's easy to say what you would do if you're not in the situation. So, and once you have kids involved and marriage is involved, it probably is a little harder to just be like, oh, I'm done, like I'm out, whatever. I will say this though, if, let's just say hypothetically, I was in that situation or something and I found out, like he cheated or whatever, it might sound bad, but me personally, I just feel like in order for me to move forward, to be able to like kind of forgive him or to like move past it, I just feel like I'm gonna have to get my lick back. Like I'm gonna have to Like, you won't have to give me a little hall pass or something, because I just don't feel like I'm gonna be able to like move forward knowing you did that, and like I'm over here being like faithful to you, never did anything. I don't know.
Right.
But I do take marriage very seriously. I've never been married, but I say when I am in a marriage, like I don't want to step outside of like my vows and, you know, cheating and stuff like that. But it's just, that's kind of how I view it. Like, I have to do something back.
No.
So
I
is
used
that
You said what?
Like, I used to feel the same way too. Like, if you do that to me, I'm definitely gonna do that back to you. Like, I'm not gonna feel satisfied until I get you back.
Yeah, that's just how I feel.
so is that relationships or marriage? Is across the board.
So, but that's why I was saying earlier, the more older I get, it's like, you know, if I'm 50, 60 something years old and I found out you cheated on me like 10, 20 years ago, it's like, am I gonna really be out here trying to
Right.
Yeah, mine would probably be more so relationship. Yeah.
I think, yeah, it's easy, like a relationship, like, yeah, it would be easier to throw up the deuces or to get your lick back. But it's like marriage, years, kids, who knows, investments.
Yeah. That
Right.
would be different. I feel like with the marriage, if I probably wouldn't try to do that back in a marriage. But if I ever found out he did it again, then I'm gonna leave, because at that point, I feel like now it's turning into a pattern. Like, you're gonna keep doing this. You know, I can see if it happened once and then like he never did it again or whatever. Like, okay, but yeah. I don't know.
So another one of my shows, I want to say it was Basketball Wives, or no, it was Iyanla. Y'all, I'm so hurt that this is the last season of Fix My Life, because I fixed my own life watching Iyanla fix everybody else's life. Like, I'm so into the episodes. I'm like, dang, I need to do this. I need to do this exercise. I need to apply this. So I'm so hurt, y'all. But on one of her episodes, there was one of the girls from Basketball Wives, and y'all, I know her husband said he cheated on her like over 100 times or something like that.
What?
And
now I'm thinking back, like, who was on there?
I cannot think of her name. I can picture her, but I can't think of her name. Brandy. It was Brandy.
That was horrible.
I could not even finish the episode because I got so emotionally attached to it. And I was just like, you know, I personally wanted to have a conversation with her to just find out what it was in her that was so broken that she normalized that type of behavior. Because for me, needless to say, like he said, with the repetitiveness, like, I can't even say that I would give a pass after cheating, and I'm gonna come back to my own personal thing with that. But for it to be repetitive, like, my thing was, when was the last time you got checked for an STD? Because now you just out here with community meat, like, feeding everybody. So that says to me, you don't care anything about your life or mine or our children's, for that matter. So that for me is very problematic. And y'all probably would have seen me on a Snap episode after that. Like, I just couldn't. But got my own little cheating story. So, and I was about to say, can I be transparent? But I forgot, this is unfiltered. So, a little over a year ago, I found out my ex cheated on me. And this was the first time that I knew that I was cheated on. So what's the difference? If I'm not naive to think that there is not some form of cheating in a lot of relationships, I'm not going to say all. You got to know your mate. You know what I'm saying? And I thought I knew my mate, and I can't even say that I didn't know him, because the cheating behavior wasn't out of the norm from who he presented to me in the beginning. But it was just the way that I found out. And it blew me because, like I said, I had never known that I was cheated on. Mind you, I done been a cheater like all the time. And I think, Lord, let me not say all the time, not in every relationship or marriage. But I have been a cheater before. So I know how to recognize certain behaviors. Game recognizes game. And he continued to lie about it. But I think the biggest blow for me was I worked extremely hard to be faithful in that relationship. So the fact that I feel like I gave it everything I had, I gave more chances than I would normally give. That for me was like crushing to my spirit. Like it broke me. Or I shouldn't say broke me. I was like a palm tree. It made me bend all the way to the ground, but I didn't break. And so I was scared initially that it would hinder my dating process going forward, that it would make me look at men differently, that it would make me not be trusting, or it would make me just like not even care and want to just be on some get back. But I didn't. And I had your initial thought, Kia. My initial thought was, you know what? I'm going to forgive him. And I will say that my initial intention was tell him you forgive him and let things smooth over a little bit, then crush him. But I remember that I am a good old church girl. And so I didn't. Like, I walked away from it, and needless to say, it was like the best decision that I made, because it seemed like after that, my whole life turned around and everything was great and flourishing and it was all good. So I didn't allow that to deter the path that I was on and who I am as a woman. But so many times we do. Like, can y'all recall a relationship that made you move differently, made you think differently afterwards, or even hardened your heart?
Yes. Oh my gosh, I was in a relationship with someone and it was just very, very toxic. Like, that was the most toxic relationship I've ever been in. And looking back on it now, I look at how I acted in that relationship, like how I turned into someone who I basically didn't even recognize. Like, I was doing a lot of crazy stuff. Like, when I tell you crazy stuff, I mean like, and I will be transparent. One time, like, I broke his window. It was on accident, but I was so angry trying to get his attention.
Jasmine Sullivan, you busting windows on cars?
Among other stuff, like, just looking back on it now, I'm like, why was I acting that crazy? But it was because of, you know, when you endure so much in a relationship, and it's kind of like you get to a breaking point and you start acting out of character, like you're not acting like yourself. And that's basically what I had got to. And you know, it was very a lot of narcissistic stuff going on in the relationship and controlling stuff. So that was a relationship that I look back on and I'm glad to be out of it. You know, after that, I did start looking at dating and being with people going forward, kind of trying to watch out for some of those signs, basically, from the relationship before.
That's a good thing when you can learn from it.
Yeah. So that was mine. Toxic.
What's your horror story, Tay? You look like you got one.
Right.
Oh, yeah. I was seeing somebody, I won't even call it a relationship. I'll just call it like a situationship that lasted way too long. But yeah, it felt borderline toxic. I wasn't used to dealing with the type of behavior that I was enduring with this person. This person was kind of narcissistic and very selfish. It just ended up being a situation where I felt like I was constantly catering to this person and wasn't getting nothing back in return. So it started any kind of bitter and mean and mad, just all these types of behavior that I was not used to. Like, I had never acted this way before. And I started to notice that about myself. And that's when I realized I needed to dip out. Like, this wasn't getting better. I was scared it was going to start taking like a violent turn. So I left before it got that bad.
Wow, that's a good thing. So one thing we can say definitely that we've learned from the toxicity, and hopefully it doesn't carry forward. And like you said, Kay, I love that you said you started to look for the signs, because repeating a bad situation is just an even worse situation, and we shouldn't do that. So I want to pivot real quick before we get out the line. Let's talk girl code. Going back to a reality show, I know y'all were on social media when Portia from Atlanta Housewives broke the internet. And when I first read the story, for those who don't know, basically Portia announced her relationship and actual engagement to a former husband that was on the show this season. And a lot of people was like, you know, they were coming down on Portia saying she broke girl code because her and his ex-wife were friends and she was all at the lady's house, like filming and everything while they were still married. But Portia was basically like, when she posted the pictures of them, she was like, yeah, his divorce was final in like January or something, I don't know. And we started dating in March, blah, blah, blah. I'd say, I see your reaction. So let's talk girl code. Now, let me tell the flip side of that too. What Portia has been saying was they're not friends. They weren't friends, even though Bravo kindly put under his ex-wife's name on the show, Portia's friend. Portia said no, they weren't friends, and you know, it was all a part of the show, like for her to be at their house and the taping and all of that stuff. Basically, I would have seen it as, or I can say maybe it was similar to like coworkers or acquaintances, but if you know the woman, let's just say you know the ex-wife, is that breaking girl code, or what is girl code as far as dating?
She broke girl code all up in broke it. She broke it. Like, she can just say whatever she wants. She know what she did. I think a lot of us was Team Portia before this, and a lot of us aren't anymore. I just don't have any respect for a woman who does something like that. I don't care if they were cordial or not. You were around this woman and her husband multiple times. To me, it's just disrespectful. I could never sit in front of a woman and her husband's face, and then next thing you know, I'm sleeping or messing around with her husband a few weeks later, more than likely who was still married to this woman at the time. So, there's just boundaries, but from what I've learned within the last few years, a lot of women don't respect them. I've seen plenty of women get with other girls, even if it was just, it was just a situation between them. They never really dated or, whatever. To me, I still feel like if she had them, I don't want them. Like, that's just...
Yeah, that's how I look at it too. I just feel like they're automatically off limits. Like I don't even look at them like that because y'all was together or whatever. Like, even if it was a coworker or something like that, I guess it's just too close in proximity to me for me to want to be like, oh, well, let me see what's up with him. Like, I just feel like there's other people out there. So I don't feel like I need to, try to mess with their ex or whatever the case is. And I definitely, when it comes to like my close family, friends, whatever, like that's definitely off limits. Like, you definitely breaking girl code if you mess with someone, that one of your friends used to mess with or whatever. Like, that's just how I feel about it.
Yeah. So I think when it comes to the closeness of the relationship, that's a death sentence. I ain't even gonna lie, y'all. Like, I can't. Like, I shouldn't say stuff like this because I really am a minister, but I'm gonna put hands on you. Like, because that, for me, it goes back to the disrespect. Like, I already said it's my trigger. So I can't do that. But I think you got to know your circle. You got to know who it is that you have. Like, I saw so many of my Facebook friends say like, oh, well, that's why I don't play about women being around my man. And you also got to know your mate. Like, I don't even say that I ever even thought about that. Like, I can remember when we had a dinner over here at the house, kid, it was supposed to be a business meeting, but we ended up having dinner, and like my husband served drinks to us, and I like, it never crossed my mind, oh, you don't need to have these chicks around your husband. Like, that never would have crossed my mind because I know him, but I also know the people that surround me. Now, if it's like some randoms, like, I'm going to keep my eyes open anyways, just because I know as women, a lot of times we can be quite disrespectful. So, I'll have my eyes open, but not someone that I would even remotely call an acquaintance. However, with a particular ex, when I met him, he told me that he was dating one other person. And at the time, I wasn't looking for a relationship. I was on my whole, I'm gonna have a squad. Like, I'm putting together a team. So And I really do endorse that. If you're single, then definitely don't fake
For
a
your-
relationship. Like, dating is the thing to do until you know you're ready to settle down. Well, he let me know he was dating one other person, and I was okay with that. I was like, yeah, me too. So, it was nothing big. Well, we were together one day, chilling at my house, and his phone rang. And he was just like, oh, can you pass me my phone? And the name popped up of someone that I knew. And I was just like, oh my gosh. Like, and when I say like I know her, like we were friends growing up. And then once we became adults, if we see each other in passing, it was cool. Or we would like, we would have conversations. Like we've never, trying to make sure I'm not lying with this. Okay, so outside of going to an event that she invited me to, we've never hung out like together or anything like that. But we were friends growing up, like we were classmates. So I would say like, this is a friend. And I told him when I saw the name come up, I handed him the phone and he ignored the call. And I was just like, wait, is this the other person that you're dating? And he was like, yeah. So I told him initially, I was like, yo, I can't. Like, that's the homie. And it's very few women that I consider friends, especially from my childhood, because I was a tomboy. Like I had way more guy friends. So it was too awkward for me. And I was just like, I can't. But there was something about him, like our connection was just so effortless and it was just so cool. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, well, we really aren't friends. I pulled a Portia. I was like, well, we really aren't, like, we don't hang out.
But I would say that's different anyhow, though, because you didn't go into the situation knowing that you were involved.
Right.
That's a different situation.
Yeah.
Right.
And I will say too, for me, I guess because I didn't take it as serious in the beginning, because like I said, I too was dating other people. But then it started to get serious. And he and I, once we became, like we ended up in a relationship and everything. But it still, for me, was awkward. Like when I saw her and I was just going back and forth in my mind, like, should I have a conversation with her about this? Like if I see her tomorrow, should we talk about it? Like, needless to say, I'm with him now, but I don't know. Did I break girl code?
I want to say I don't think you did, because like Taylor said, I could see if you went into the situation knowing that they already were talking or this was like an ex of hers, and then you was like, okay, well, I'm gonna talk to him. I don't, now that I would feel like it's breaking girl code, but I think y'all were both in a kind of sticky situation because y'all both were talking to him at the same time and didn't even know it. Like, I don't know if she knew of you talking to him, but by that point, y'all already...
Or he told me that she didn't, but I mean, he was a liar, so I don't know.
So she could have known too. I mean...
Right.
And then it's just different. It's like with that situation, you can't help that you liked him a lot or whatever. You was already talking to him. So I want to say, I don't think you broke girl code with that.
Okay, so let me add this in. So one particular Sunday, he called, or I can't remember if he called. Yeah, he called me, but I was still in church. So when I called back, he texted me and said, hey, I'll call you later. So that let me know that he was with her, and I was perfectly fine with it. So then one of the guys that I was seeing invited me to dinner. I was like, okay, cool. We get there, and as soon as I walk through the door, I see them. So here we are face to face. He's with the other person that he's dating. I'm with this guy that I'm dating. And I'm just like...
Awkward.
Yeah, so I didn't know how to react, to be honest. I didn't know what to do or whatever. So I ended up having to walk past them, and I spoke. I just said, hey y'all, and I kept on going. So then when they left, she spoke. She was like, see you later, girl, or whatever, because I don't think she knew about me at that time. But he kind of just had his head down or whatever. And clearly, as soon as they went their separate ways, like he started texting me and he was like, I never wanted you to see that and blah, blah, blah. Now, at that point, I think I ghosted him for like a week or so, not because I was angry or anything, but I just didn't know how I should have responded, and I didn't know how to say it at that time. So I ghosted him for a little while, but then we ended up like still going out, still hanging out and all that stuff. So now knowing that, since I did see them together and she saw me with somebody else, it could have appeared after the fact that I really pulled a Portia in her eyes. But what do y'all think?
Well, you already knew. I mean, y'all already were talking even before you knew of them too, though. Yeah. So did she ever end up finding out, like for sure, and coming to you about it?
He told me that, no, she never came to me, but he told me that he told her. So, and she and I have spoken since, but we've never spoken about him.
I think this all comes down to perspective. Because I feel like from her perspective, yeah, it looks like you did break girl code because, you know, she probably thinking, oh, so she's seen me out with him, and then now she's trying to talk to him. But it's like, you already were talking to him. So
right.
Do you feel like you broke girl code? Like, how do you feel about it?
Honestly, I'm a little conflicted because that definitely wasn't my intent. And part of me is like, well, I could have reached out to her in the very beginning when I found out she was the other person. But I didn't know how she would respond. And I don't deal in drama. And I didn't know if it would be a dramatic situation. So I didn't say anything, but part of me was really like shameful. And I felt like if we were to see her in public somewhere while we were together, then I would have felt like ashamed, and I would have felt like now I look like the other woman, or I look like the girl who came behind her since I saw them together. I don't know that I would have had the opportunity to explain to her, like, yeah, because I think we literally met him like a week apart or something like that.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, like she met him the week before I did, according to him now, again.
Liar, so.
No.
Could have been lying.
According to him, like he literally met us like 2 weekends back to back and just started communicating with both of us. So I don't know. I just me being me, because that's not something that I would normally do. I've carried a little bit of I don't want to say guilt, but just feeling awkward. Like I don't want somebody to have that perception of me.
Yeah. But I feel like that's the difference between girls who break girl code. I feel like they intentionally know that like what they're doing is grimy, and they still do it, and they still like they go into the situation knowing that. I feel like y'all were both kind of blindsided in your situation because y'all both already talked to him, like I said before. But with Portia in this situation, I just feel like people said, she was up in that woman's home, up in her pool, smiling in her face, her husband's face. Like,
Right. That was a bit much. And like you said, Tay, I was team Portia, and I mean,
me too.
I kind of still am. I'm just like, well, if she's happy, like I want her to be happy, and maybe the way it happened wasn't good.
You lose them how you get them.
That is,
girl,
that's true.
I have always said that. But here's the flip side. Why doesn't Alicia Keys get that kind of heat from people?
Now that is a good question that's always brought up anytime situations like this happen in the entertainment industry. People always say, why doesn't Alicia Keys get any type of backlash like this? And honestly, I don't know if it was because it was kind of done more quietly, or because his ex Mashonda didn't make as big of a fuss about it. I'm not really sure, but she definitely didn't get the slack that someone like a Portia would have got today.
Yeah. I really think it has a lot to do with her whole image, though.
I was gonna say, I would think it's like the way she looks, her demeanor, everything about her. You know, she's supposed to be this sweet songbird, so
doesn't wear makeup anymore.
Right. I do feel like people in the on the Shade Room, those people do come for her every time she's posted. I realize, like,
really,
they'll be like that's why God took away her voice for taking that taking that woman's husband. Like they be going in on her.
Wow.
It's definitely not to the same extent as like, how they're going in on Portia. So I definitely think it has something to do with the fact that she's already an artist and like kind of made her own name. But
she didn't when social media was as big.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
What she did, it would have been probably a different story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I agree. Well, ladies, it's been fun as always. So don't forget, I will be sending a package to y'all. Hopefully we can all stay committed to girl code, and since you have your own packages, then you won't have to borrow friends because that would be gross anyways. But I hope y'all have a wonderful week, and let's not forget, we have to set goals for this week. Were y'all cool with your goals that you set the last time? Do y'all even remember? Because I
remember like
weight loss or something. I don't even remember.
Oh yeah, that was a big goal.
Yeah.
Okay, I did. So I met one of my goals then. Yeah. I'm over here trying to get this body together, honey, before summer officially hits. Yes.
Yes. We have like a few more weeks till summer.
Yeah. I'm trying to get skinny before then.
I did complete one of my goals last week. I think I said I wanted to like finish up majority of the websites I was working on. So I did do that. This week's goals, I need to plan out my money. Yeah, for the next month.
I like it. What you got, Tay?
I just need to stop being sluggish. I feel like I'm sluggish ever since we came back from our trip, that it's like I'm doing stuff, but it's taking me like a long time to do it, like to get things complete. So I just got to get back into my hustle and get going again.
Okay, so real quick, I just need to let the people know who the real hot girls of 2020 the magazine are. Y'all follow these two. I need y'all to shout out your social media real quick because, honey, they had a whole Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition by themselves last week. Y'all need to catch this.
My @ on Instagram is @KeyaTally. That's KeyaTalley. To catch these pics.
Yes, lady.
And mine is @love LOVE Taylon TAYLON. So follow your girl.
Please follow these swimsuit bottles, honey. So my goal for this week is meal planning or meal prep. I'm going to cook and I'm going to eat what I cook multiple days. That's what I'm trying to say. And I'm going to attach to that, drink more water. Like, I got to get it in, y'all. I got to drink.
I'm on the same page as you, Takara. Like, I'm planning to cook some chicken tonight, meal prep that for the week.
Okay.
Drink more water too. So we can hold each other accountable.
Let's do it. All right, ladies. Until next time, love y'all. Be blessed.
All right. Bye.